Hey everyone, how's it going? My name's Cloud, and welcome to my personal VOD reviews of Locals. In this episode, we'll be taking a look at Game 3 of Week 1 for the OP12 Meta, where I played Green Yellow Yamato versus Purple Black Luffy. Here's the deck list that I played in this match, and if you haven't already done so, please go check out the Locals retro video I made that covers this deck list and my overall thoughts on how Locals went this week. Without further ado, let's hop into the game. Game number 3 for Week 1 of the OP12 Meta. I'm playing Green Yellow Yamato versus Purple Black Luffy. Man, it feels like I can never escape playing against this leader every week, huh? I think I've played against a Purple Black Luffy for like, what, 4 or 5 weeks in a row now? At this point, it's becoming my arch nemesis, so hopefully we can take the win this time around with Green Yellow Yamato. And just real quickly, my opponent did shuffle their deck. That's why their deck is just sitting there. I was a little slow on the setup, but trust me when I say they shuffled their deck, so we are good there. Now to talk about this matchup, I think that this matchup can be pretty even. However, I think I have to be the aggressor and try to win as early as possible. This is because my opponent is a 4-life leader, so with my double attack built in, I can bring them down to 0 life very quickly. But if they get to the point where they're able to play their 6-cost Beer Luffy and make their leader a 7k base, it becomes really hard for me to have enough power to attack at my opponent's life. That's how that's gonna go. Moving on to the dice roll, I roll as usual. I'm gonna roll a 4, and my opponent is gonna roll a 5, so they win the dice roll and get to pick turn order. And it looks like they're choosing to go second, so I will be going first for the first time this week. Let's take a look at our initial opening hand here. We're starting off with a 3-cost Izo, 8-cost Mihawk, 1-cost Yamato. Jeez, why did I blink there? 1-cost Blaze Slice, and 4-cost Kikunojo. Let's do a counter check. We've got a 2k, 1k, and that's pretty much it. Another game with only 3k counter in hand. This is crazy. We're running into very counterless hands pretty much. I think it's going to be fine because I don't expect my opponent to be attacking me with very large numbers at the beginning of the game. But once it gets into the later stages of the game, I really hope I do draw into more counter if I decide to keep this hand. Fortunately, we did get the 1-cost Yamato. Happy to see that. So by playing out that Yamato, I can search my top 5 for a Land of Wano that costs 2 or more. That can be a counter or any piece I'm missing, so hopefully that's fine, right? Can hopefully find more counter off of it. I am pretty happy to see the 8-cost Mihawk. I think it's going to be very important that I have this card in hand. This new card from OP12, it's an 8k blocker, and more importantly, it also lets me restand for Dawn. So by having this in this game in particular, I can set up a very good blocker that can deal with the 7k attacks that are going to be coming at me. Not to mention, with those 4 Dawn, I can use it to play out another character, say like a Kikunojo, or just use it to attach on my leader to go for a 9k attack. Very happy to see that. Otherwise, the other cards in my hand are okay. But let's see if we decide to keep it or not. Looks like my opponent decided to keep their initial hand, so they must have found like all the cards they needed. Ramp, Beer Luffy, some blockers I guess. Pretty scary. And it looks like I'm gonna keep as well. I think it's fine because we have the Yamato and we know we're gonna have a decent endgame here, so should be alright. Fist bump to start the game, and I'm going first, so I will tap 1 Dawn and play out the Yamato. Searching top 5, let's see what we find. We've got 4-cost Hiyori, 5-cost Momonosuke, 1-cost Yamato, 2-cost Hiyori, and Hody Jones. And we end up picking the 2-cost Hiyori. I think it's a good choice. It's a counter, and potentially if I am able to get my opponent down to 3 or less life, I can use it to set up the Kikunojo. But I've got to add it to my hand, so hopefully I remember that. But going over to my opponent, they started with 2 Dawn, drew for turn, and then they played the 1 cost Law, and I actually did not see what they picked. Oh, 6 cost Beer Luffy. Why am I not surprised? 6 cost Beer Luffy. Yeah. There we go. Finally picked it up in hand. And I draw for the turn. It is the 2 cost Izo. I'm at 3 Dawn now. And we're just going to attach all 3 Dawn to my leader and go 8k to my opponent's life, which they decide to take. Really good for me. It means my leader ability is online, plus any of the cards in my deck that require my opponent to be at 3 or less life. I could have potentially played the Izo to try to just go for a 6k banish, but I think just going big here, ensuring that my opponent is at 3 or less is good. And they're going to tap, or they're going to go up to 4 Dawn, and then tap 3 Dawn to play the 3 cost Chopper, something that I don't see very often. So let's actually read what this Chopper does, because as you can see, it KOs my Yamato, which I was not expecting during the game. So this Tony Chopper is a purple 3 cost 4k power wisdom character with 1k counter, and has the animal / straw hat crew typing. His ability says blocker, and on play, Dawn -2, rest up to one of your opponent's Dawn cards, or characters with a cost of 1 or less. Oh my gosh, it only rests, not KO. I made a huge mistake here. I guess I was trusting my opponent a little too much here, but yeah, it should have only... Oh, no, okay, we're good. So what happened? Yeah, okay, never mind, we're fine. He rested my Yamato, and then he went 2k with Law into the Yamato. Alright, we're fine. So that's what happened there. But yeah, okay. That's the Chopper. Very good card for, I guess, getting rid of my Yamato here. And establishing a blocker. And then because he did do Dawn -2, thanks to leader ability, he gets 1 Dawn back as active and 1 Dawn back as rested. Very interesting that he chose not to ramp here, but I guess he doesn't really need to since he's going to be at 6 Dawn anyways. And then he's going to attach 2 Dawn to his leader and go 7k at my life. I can give up a 2k and a 1k here, but I think I'd rather just keep those in hand for now, so I just take the life, and it's a 7 cost Hoodie Jones. Pass to me, I draw for turn, it's the 1 cost Blaze Slice, and I'm going to go up to 5 Dawn in hand. So my opponent has a blocker. I can actually rest that blocker right now. I have the Izo in hand, and I also have Blaze Slice in hand. My opponent is at 2 or less life, so I can use it to rest my opponent's Chopper, and then maybe swing at life again. Or I can just try to set up, my Kikunojo. I could use 4 Dawn to set it up, or use the Hiyori to set it up in life as a trigger. If I do that, then I'll have 3 Dawn to swing at my opponent's life, which isn't too bad either. But okay, we're gonna tap 1 Dawn and rest the Chopper and give my leader plus 1k for the turn. And now with 4 Dawn, I could just play the Kikunojo straight up. But yep, I remember exactly what's going through my mind here. I was telling myself, I rested his blocker, he didn't ramp. What happens if we just go at his life? So we go a big 10k at his life, which he just ends up taking, and putting him down to 0 very quickly. This is something I don't normally do with Purple Black Luffy, but I guess we were limit testing here, because we do have the Hoodie Jones in hand. I'm telling myself, what if I just get him down to 0, and I just try to pressure his life as much as possible? We'll see how it works out. But my opponent's going to go to his 6 Dawn turn. He's going to draw for turn as well. And then he's going to tap 6 Dawn to play out the 6 cost Beer Luffy, minusing 2 Dawn, making his leader a 7k base, and then getting 1 Dawn back as active and 1 Dawn back as rested thanks to his leader ability. And then from there, it looks like he's going to go 7k with his leader at my life, which I decide to take. And it's the 1 cost Dead Man's Game. Okay, so this is where things started going wrong for me. I probably should have countered out of that. So if we look at my hand, whoops, hopefully we get a better shot here. Yeah, so turn passes back to me. I draw. It's a 7 cost Hody Jones. Sure. I go up to 7 Dawn. But alright. So in my hand, I have 2k. Oh my goodness, wrong color. 2k. I know there's a Izo behind my Hiyori right there, so that's another 2k. I have the 1 cost Izo. So that's a 1k. So I had 5k counter in hand, not counting the Blaze Slice since I had no Donnas active. I probably should have countered that, because if I put my opponent down to 0, I probably should have just played the Hody Jones this turn with 7 Dawn. Because the point of me putting them down to 0 is to try to pressure my opponent's life, right? With Hody Jones, I can rest the Chopper, rest his Dawn that he's most likely keeping up for a Gum Gum Giant, and then just try to swing at my opponent's life. I wouldn't be able to swing with Leader this turn at life, but I can still use Leader to swing at the Chopper for 5k to 4. And then with Hody Jones, I can use Leader ability to go 10k at life. And so that would have put pressure on my opponent's hand. Something I didn't mention this entire time is that by attacking with my Leader at my opponent's life, I just gave them 4 cards in hand. It wasn't banished double attack swings. So in his hand right now, he probably has around 10 cards in hand. So I really need to start pressuring his hand if I want to get anywhere close to winning. But by taking that life, I'm now down to 2 life, which makes me more hesitant to play the Hody Jones, since the Hody Jones would have required me to put one of these life cards into hand. And that would have made it a lot easier for my opponent to win, since they have 2 7k attacks on board. So by not countering out there, I pretty much lost my opportunity to play a Hody Jones out. So, a little unfortunate for me. And if I played out the Hody Jones, I could have even just ignored the Dawn, rested the Luffy and the Chopper, and just try to attack at his board as well, right? Since he has no life, I don't really need to worry about going for life as immediately. I could have just tried to pressure his board, getting rid of the Beer Luffy so that his Leader isn't at 7k base. So yeah, bringing that up because not countering out there really affects how the rest of this game's gonna go for me. Because like I mentioned, now I'm afraid to play Hody Jones, and I don't really have a good 7 Dawn turn right now. I don't have like the 5 cost Momonosuke to set up a blocker. All I have are some counters, Kikunojo, Dead Man's Game. Yeah, this is not great. So at minimum, I probably should just try to set up the Kikunojo and establish a 6k attacking body, and then just use the rest of my Dawn to maybe put on Leader and attack at my opponent's life. Definitely keep one up for like Dead Man's Game to have the counter. But yeah, I was going very aggressive this game. Yeah, look at my opponent's hand right there. Let's count. Let's see if we can count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11? Roughly 11 cards? Yeah, that's kind of crazy. 1, 2... Kind of crazy. I have a lot of cards in my hand as well, but they're not as playable at the moment. And this is why being on the odd curve is a little unfortunate for me. I can't really play out the 8 cost Mihawk when I would have liked to. Having that blocker right now would have been great. So this is a tough situation I'm in. I could maybe Dead Man's Game to try to rest the blocker and the Luffy Taro, but it's not great. We're gonna tap 2 Dawn to play the Izo, giving my Leader Banish. The Banish is not really the important part here. I think I'm just trying to set up the blocker. And so with 3 Dawn, we're gonna go 8k at my opponent's life. They They're just going to use a 2k counter to get out of that. And then I'm going to use the last 2 Dawn to play the Hiyori, check the top card of my life here, and let's see what I put into life. It should be the... Ooh, you know what? That's right. I messed up at this point. I used one too many Dawn on my leader. I should have kept 1 Dawn as active because now I cannot use the Blaze Slice or Dead Man's Game as counter. So that's a huge misplay. I definitely should have kept 1 Dawn active. And so now I'm looking at my hand and I'm considering, oh, is it even worth it to put the Kikanojo into life anymore? It might be more worth it for me to put the Blaze Slice so that I can potentially just rest the blocker and have an avenue for maybe going for lethal next turn. Very big misplay for me there. Yep, only 1 2k counter in hand because I did spend the Hiyori. So yep, best option now is actually to put the Blaze Slice there because I need to be able to rest something potentially. And yeah, just use leader ability, attach it to my Izo to make it a blocker. Best thing I can do, maybe stay alive for 1 more turn. Pass to my opponent, they're at 8 Dawn. Draw for turn. That's a very big hand they've got. I'm gonna tap 8 Dawn to play the 8 cost Katakuri blocker. Yikes. So let's look at this 8 cost Katakuri. I haven't been really reading my opponent's cards just because hopefully you've seen these cards by now. But the 8 cost Katakuri is a very important one. Charlie Katakuri is a purple 8 cost 8k power strike character with no counter and has the Big Mom Pirates typing. His ability says blocker, end of your turn, set up to 2 of your Big Mom Pirate type characters with a cost of 3 or more as active, then add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and rest it. So this is such a good card for my opponent right now. They themselves established a 8k power blocker that can restand itself, so on the following turn it can attack and then still be active for being a blocker while also ramping for my opponent. Now the situation has become really dire for me. They're gonna start off by attacking 7k with their Beer Luffy, minusing 2 Dawn to make their leader a 7k base. And then they get 1 Dawn back as active and 1 Dawn back as rested. And I'm just gonna take it because I don't have the counter. It's the Blaze Slice. I forgot that I set up the Blaze Slice instead of the Kikanojo. Maybe the Kikanojo would have been better because now I would have a 6k body on board. But yeah, because I put the Blaze Slice there, the only option is for me to just go ahead and rest the chopper, getting rid of at least one of their blockers. Then my opponent's gonna go 7k with the Luffy leader, his leader, which I just have to block. And then, yep, Katakuri's effect, he gets to ramp 1, so he's at 9 Dawn. Pass back to me, I am also now at 9 Dawn. I drew a 2 cost Izo. This is a blocker. We're gonna tap 8 Dawn to play out the Mihawk, restanding 4 Dawn. Hopefully this time I keep enough Dawn up for Dead Man's Game, so yeah, good. I move 2 Dawn to the side, making sure that I reserve that. I'm gonna need every counter I can possibly get. We're gonna go ahead and tap 2 Dawn to play out the Izo. Once again, the banish is not the important part here, even though my leader gets banished. I'm really just trying to establish another blocker. So we're gonna attach 1 Dawn to my leader and actually just go 6k to the chopper, which my opponent just blocks with Katakuri. Can't do anything about that. And then I use leader ability to attach 2 Dawn to the Izo. So at least I have 2 blockers now. And I left 2 Dawn up for Dead Man's Game. So now I'm holding up a total of 8k counter in hand with 2 blockers and 1 life. Hopefully I can survive. Whereas my opponent is now at 10 Dawn. They've got so many cards in hand, and they have a really scary board. If my Mihawk stays alive, then I can potentially use it to help go for game. Because I do have Hody Jones, I do have Dead Man's Game in hand, so I can use that to rest blockers. Alright, my opponent's going to tap 3 Dawn and play out the Uso Hachi to rest my Izo. Then he's going to use his Law to go 2k at my Izo, which I just let go. And then my opponent's going to go 7k at my life with the Beer Luffy, minusing 2 Dawn to make his leader a 7k base, and then restanding 1 Dawn back as active and 1 Dawn back as rested. And here, I do tap 1 Dawn to use one of my Dead Man's Games to give my leader plus 3k. So I still have 1 blocker, 1 life. My opponent has 2 attackers, but my opponent also has 8 Dawn remaining. They're going to attach 1 Dawn to their leader and go 8k at my life. And I decide to take it. I don't want to use my blocker, nor do I want to use my Dead Man Game to counter. And here, my opponent attaches 1 Dawn to Katakuri and goes 9k at my life. This time I block because I know my opponent doesn't really have any more attackers left, and then I use a 2k to protect my Mihawk, trying to keep it alive. Then my opponent attaches, or taps 4 Dawn to play out the Frankie over the Law, minuses 2 Dawn to draw 2 and trash 1, and then passes the turn to me. Oh, sorry, not trash 2, draw 1. Trash 1, then draw 2. And then, yep, use Katakuri's ability to restand itself and then ramp 1 Dawn. So I survive, but all I have left on board is a Mihawk and a a Hiyori. And I'm at 10 Dawn. My opponent has, I think it was 10 cards in hand, plus 2 Dawn up, and 3 blockers. So he's already played around Hody Jones. I can only rest 2 things. I can't even use Dead Man Game with Hody Jones, so yeah. We're going for 1 final attempt here. We just essentially have to go for lethal this turn. So I'm going to tap 7 Dawn to play Hody Jones. I should pretty much rest the blockers. Yep, resting the Katakuri, that's a obvious choice. And rest the Frankie. There's no point of resting the Dawn here because I already know he has potential counter in hand. It's better to get rid of the blockers so that I can have more attacks going at life and forcing him to at least use the cards in hand. So I've got 3 attacks. My opponent has 1 blocker now and 2 Dawn up. His leader is at 7k base with a lot of cards in hand. Yeah, I'm debating whether I want to attack with leader. I should just go leader to life. There's no point of attacking his board right now. I don't have enough counter to survive next turn. I guess I'm considering whether or not I want to use the 3 Dawns to play the Izo to rest the Chopper. But okay, we're gonna go 7 Dawn on, or 2 Dawn on my leader and go 7k at my opponent's life. They're gonna give me a 1k to get out of that. I don't know why I kept 1 Dawn up. Maybe it's to try to keep Dead Man's Game active. We're going another 8k with Hody Jones to life. They're gonna give me a 2k. I'm gonna use leader ability, attach it to my Mihawk, and just go 10k to life, which they use the blocker Chopper to protect that. And then I pass the turn. I've got 1 Dawn up for Dead Man's Game. I only have, what is that, 6k counter in hand, no blockers. My opponent has 10 Dawn. Katakuri on board, 6 cost beer Luffy on board. Yeah, it's pretty bad. My opponent attaches all Dawn to his Usopp and just goes 13k at my life. Whoops, wrong color. And I just showed that I only had 6k counter in hand, so still wrong color. Jeez, can't even click on the right color. It's alright, you get the point. Anyways, I end up losing the game there and my opponent takes the win. So I think this was a pretty bad game from my end. I kind of like turned off my brain when I saw he only had a chopper on turn 3. Yeah, turn 3 he only had a chopper and 2 life. So I think it was a mistake going that big 10k at my opponent's life. I should have used that turn to set up some characters or set up my life with the trigger and attacked lower knowing that he had the blocker. I think that would have put me in a much better position because I would have had a Kikunojo out eventually. Like even in that turn, I could have just rested the chopper and played out the Kikunojo for 4 and just go 6k at the chopper. It didn't really need to attack life. I should have slowed down the game knowing that I didn't really have a good mid-game option and instead focused on staying healthy so that I can maybe play out the Hody Jones and then Mihawk following that, but yeah. Otherwise, with the way I played this game, the turn that I chose not to counter I think really affected the rest of the game. I could have Hody Jones there to try to just attack at board or something while keeping me at 2 life, so a little unfortunate there. But okay, that's gonna do it for this game. If you saw something that I missed or have something that I could have done better, please let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, thanks for watching and GG's to my opponent. I'll see you guys in the next one. Until next time, remember, keep your minds fresh and your spirits free. See ya!